Now, Jason, a lot of what's been going on in TV consumption has been uh, through OTT, through so many devices, and there's been a big movement to that. So, I wanted to ask you a two-part question.
Mhm.
How has the sort of move to IP delivered television, let's call it, changed sports strategy, sports consumption?
Mhm.
And a second part of that, how does the sports league get young people involved? I wanted to, if you could share your thoughts on those topics.
Sure. So obviously we've seen a lot of growth, a lot of explosion in options that you can get for sports. You can get it through, their sports centric streaming services. Over 30 different TV networks show some sort of sporting events, and obviously that goes to their apps as well. And above and beyond that, also the regional sports networks and the cable app system. The cable systems have their apps, and like I mentioned, there's a bunch of different OTT providers that you can get there. You can get sports with. The way that we see it right now. TV. I'll go with this a couple of places. TV as the device continues to be really king in this, especially for sports. We saw during the pandemic, 80% of people said that TV is the centerpiece of their household. And we've also seen that through our study that we did for sports, that 63% of sports fans have purchased a bigger TV screen um, just because they want to get a better sports viewing experience. Now, what we've seen through the pandemic was that there's also a bunch of more viewership going on across devices, across OTT as well. And we call this sort of a second screening where, because there's a glut of sports TV programming going on, that you could that we've heard many instances where people are putting on their favorite team on their TV and then watching another sporting event on another device. So they were watching another game, their secondary game on a tablet or a mobile while they were watching the other game on TV. Again, that just goes back to how much content there is for sports going on right now. And we've seen that 50% of sports fans don't mind watching on a smaller screen. Now, I would say that this is all still pretty much complementary to TV. I mean, TV is still, and linear TV still has the majority of viewership, and it is a great value. So, you can watch the choice of over 1,000 sporting events a month for the fraction of the cost to go to a sporting event for a family of four. So again, the TV at this point, TV and linear TV has most of the viewership, and OTT right now is pretty much complementary to that activity going on. Now, in terms of your second question, how can we engage younger viewers in sports? This is something else that we handled in our research. Where we really asked sports fans, how can we further engage you, and um, how can we get you to watch more sports on TV? And there was really kind of four different things that kind of popped up here. And first thing is it's social media engagement, and the social media engagement can kind of go two ways. I'll cover both pretty quickly, but we saw that 70% of adults 18 to 34 say that social media posts keep them more engaged in watching sports. And they don't even have to be an active participant in that conversation. They can just be talking, they can just be following a conversation going on about their favorite team. It's kind of, social media and fostering these online communities has become even more important during the pandemic because people can't go to bars, people can't go out to restaurants, or they have limited access to these. So they're really using social media such as Twitter as their kind of virtual bar, keeping up with the conversation. It makes them more interested and more engaged in the games. And then also the idea that social media platforms like Twitter are really great with sharing highlights. And again, conversations come off of highlights. And that can also serve as a reminder to somebody who's not currently watching a game and they see a great highlight to actually turn the game on, to flip the game on. So again, a social media platform can also be a good driver of incremental ratings in real time to a sporting event, especially if that sporting event is pretty close. So again, I would just say, um, be involved in social media and engage fans through that way. And then just a couple other things. We also saw that fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy, and the legalization of gambling, um, keeps people interesting. It gets and the idea that people that are more involved in that activity, and we've seen that the people that are most involved in that activity are adults 25 to 34, but people that are more involved in that activity are more likely to be watching sports and be more likely to be watching more sports. So it's really about engaging and getting into the spot as well, and enhancing the viewer experience through activations you can do around fantasy sports, and even as legalized gambling becomes more pronounced throughout society, to get more involved in that also. And then last I'll hit up is esports. And there were just some incredible esports tie-ins. You know, esports has been growing very big. It's become mainstream. We've seen team owners, sports team owners, get involved in investing in esports. And what I'd say with the esports is that during the pandemic, when we really didn't have live sports going on, there were some really interesting activations and programming that leagues were doing with TV networks, where they would take their top athletes and they put them in competition, whether it was Madden 2020 or whether it was NBA 2K tournament. And it really kind of showed it was really fun. They were usually doing this on Friday night during the dark days of the pandemic, and, you know, really showed the personality of the pro athletes and whatnot. So I would say, moving forward, there should be, leagues and TV networks should consider more esports tie-ins, and, virtual tournaments like this, maybe during the off season, especially since the esports TV programming on TV has a median age of 32. So we know that it's bringing in a younger audience.